Now we want to go to count function. So let me start with customer data, new measure. Let's say count. So let's say we want to count the number of values in the country name. So let's say total country, let's say equals count. So it's asking us that the variable is column name. So we put country name as the column and then we press enter. So we have total country. The point is that you can see that the country here, the country column does not have any blank value. So automatically we should have 14. So let us go to the visualization area. So this particular card. Let us change it. We are removing this and then let's put total country. And you can see that we have 14. Why? Because there are 14 entries. We have 14 entries here. Now let us look at count for city. Count, let's use it for city. So now this total country, I will modify it to total city. Total city, and then instead of using, so we are going to use city. You understand? City, and then we press enter. So I want you to guess. We have two blank values here. So what are we going to get? Are we going to get 12 or are we going to get 14? So let us check. So you can see that total city now has become 12. And this is what the count function does. The count function counts the values inside a particular column and it doesn't count the empty values. It does not count null values. Very good. But before we go forward, I want us to go to the other table here, the TSV table. You can see that this is another table, TSV table, and you can see that we have city here too, and there are three, one, two, three. So there are 19 rows here. We want to use the count function to count the number of country or of city that is available here, like we did earlier. So now let's do that and say, okay, new measure, and we say count city. We say count, or let's say total city, but this time around we say TSV. So count, we are counting TSV city. You can see now TSV data city. And then we press enter. Based on what we did in the last session, we expect that if there are 19 rows and we have three empty cells like this, we want to see 16 as our answer here because there are only 16 here, as count function does not count rows with empty or null values. So let us go to the visualization and see if we are correct. So we are still using this. So let's remove total city. Now let's go to the TSV data. and use and look at total. So this is it, total city TSV. I put it here, and you can see here we have 19. So it means that the count function in this particular occasion has counted the empty cells. Whereas in the previous task we did, the count functions did not count the empty cells. Why did this happen? This is very important so that when you are doing your calculation in the future, you will not be counting empty cells as part of your data. And this takes us back to the Power Query editor. So I will go back to the Power Query editor, and we are going to examine this data again. Let us allow it to load. Now, if you look at the TSV data, where everything is being counted, if you click here, you can see that we have select and we have blank. So blank is seen as a text. So when you are using count function and what is there is a blank, that blank is also like a text data, and the count function in DAX is going to count it as part of the text. And that is why the TSP data is showing 19 even though there are some blank inside it. However, let's come to the customer data. So let's come to the customer data. If you come to the customer data, you can see that this is city. If I click on city, if you look at city, you can see null. You understand? Null, null. And if I filter it, you can see that we have null. So the count function will not count null values, while count function will count blank values. And this is why you must process your data very well before you start analyzing it. Now, why is it that we have null here, and then in that other one we have blank? It is simple. If you import your data from a particular file, probably from a database or from Excel, anywhere you are importing it from, if you have those blank, if you have empty cells in a particular column, immediately you import them into Power BI, it is going to be in form of null like this. So every empty values from your data source, a database, Excel, any form of file, when you import them into Power BI, they are going to become null. And count function in DAX will not count them as a text. However, if you import your data completely into Power BI, you import your data into Power BI, and inside Power BI, you remove some cells like this. Like I remove this particular 1, 2, 3. I removed them inside the Power Query editor. And when you do that, Power BI is going to see them as blank. So, which means that if you use a count function on them, it is going to be counting as a text. So, this is how count function work in Power Query and also in Power BI DAX formula.